but I think they would get a kick out of it. Hey, we can get started.
Okay, welcome to the Putnam Library and DAR Daughters of the American Revolution presentation tonight. I'm Becky Piloponis from Ottawa, Illinois, from the Illini chapter, it's pronounced. And then we have with us also Jean Galletti from the Henry chapter called Chief Senachwine. Okay, and we're going to go through a presentation and then I'll go into our web page. So here's our agenda for tonight. We're going to go through the biographies of Jean and myself, some information about DAR and what we as an organization do, the history of our organization, how to join, and then our contact details for Jean and I. Okay? All right. My biography, Becky Hill Piloponis. I joined the Illini chapter in Ottawa, Illinois in July of 2018. You probably noticed that I'm saying Illini instead of Illini. Illini is the female version pronunciation of Illini. So that's a little history, that some people are not aware of. But anyway, I joined in 18. My mom was 60 years in the Illini chapter of DAR. And my grandmother, my mom's mom, was also in the same chapter. So it was sort of easy when I did my application because I had my mother's national number. So when you join DAR, you're given a national ID number so that goes with you throughout your lifetime with DAR. So I think my application was processed in like 4 weeks. So I was pretty fast to have that all done. Anyway, my ancestor is Edward Mason in the Revolutionary War. He was an orderly sergeant in the Rhode Island militia at Warren. And he was the first served under Captain John Child and then later under Captain Ezra Ormsby. Some of the offices that I have held since my joining, I was chapter chaplain from 21 to 23. And then I was on our Illinois State Conference Reservations Committee from 21 to 23. I've been chapter regent since 2023. I'm on District 2 Regents Club Vice President, Illinois State Regents Club Vice President, and just nominated last week District 2 Secretary. So the way DAR works is we have our local chapters. So we have a chapter in Ottawa, Illinois, Henry, Princeton, Dixon, Rochelle, so Mendota. So there's quite a few chapters within the area. So then our chapters, we belong to a district, sort of like a region. So our district includes like Ottawa, Henry, Princeton, Rochelle, Rockford, Galena, we're Woodstock. We're a big spread out district for all of our chapters. And then district, then we belong to the Illinois, the state regent. Okay, so it's sort of like a hierarchy that we go through for reporting and everything. And we are called regents and not presidents. It's basically the same thing, but in DAR, a regent is the president of the chapter, and vice regent is the vice president of the chapter. Okay? Does that help? Anybody have any questions on that? Sort of clarify the naming of the offices and the titles. Okay? All right. And there we have a lot of committees that you can participate on. So some of the committees that I have been on are chapter achievement and awards. And what that is each chapter, you try and decide when it's program planning time, what do you want your chapter to achieve? Do you got certain programs, like America 250 is big now for this year. So we come up with little programs and awards that we need our chapter to achieve for the year. Constitution Week, I'm the committee chair for that. Constitution Week is always the week in September 17th. We kick it off, and we usually maybe host a school, a local elementary school, or maybe a high school, a grade or something, to help them out and understand and be active with Constitution Week. DAR Media, I created our Illini chapter Facebook webpage, and I keep that updated. And then we also have an Illini website too. So that's our media that we keep up to date. Then Service for Veterans, that's a big item and a big committee for DAR, Service for Veterans. We do a lot of volunteer work for the Veterans Home in LaSalle, Illinois. So, we give them cards every month. We do like a Christmas in July, because at Christmas time they get so many other little gift baskets from some other organizations. So we do Christmas in July, and in October we'll host and play bingo with them, and then we will treat them to a root beer float. So just to see the veterans smiles and having fun, when the daughters come in there to participate and be with them is really wonderful. And then the yearbook committee is every chapter we create a yearbook. We usually try and meet in June, so it's printed by September 1st. So this yearbook has all of our regents that have been here, and then what programs we're going to have for our year. So that's what the yearbooks are all about. And then District 2, I'm the Veterans Affairs Volunteer Services, and this District 2 VAVS committee chairperson is nominated from our President General in Washington, D.C. So I felt very honored that she reached out and asked me if I would be the Veterans District 2 representative for the next couple of years. So that's pretty cool. Any questions? We good? Yay. I just wanted to show you Illini's first regent, Phoebe Anthony Sherwood. She was our first regent. She was our organizing regent, and she's the one that started and got the Illini chapter off and running. So she was our regent from 1896 to 1898. So you will notice 1896, if you put it together, this is Illini's 130th anniversary. So also Princeton, Illinois, their chapter is 130th. So on Saturday, April, 4th, I'm just throwing the date out there, Illini chapter and Princeton chapter, we're getting together for annual luncheon and a program, and we're having Kurt do our program at that luncheon. But it's just history to be involved with an organization that dates back that far and is still going very strong. Okay. All right, Jean, turn it over to you for your biography.
My name is Jean Galletti, and I'm with the Chiefs Snatchline chapter located in Henry, Illinois. Offices I've held as chapter regent, which started last year through 2027. Committees I've been on is Constitution Week, Franco-American Lafayette Chair Committee, Lincoln Marker Chairperson. We did a Abraham Lincoln marker for his speech that he gave in Henry, Illinois, August 23rd, 1858. And we did it on August 23rd of 2025. We put a rock with a plaque honoring Abraham Lincoln's speech in Henry, Illinois. My ancestor, one of them, is Richard Taylor. He was a Virginia Colonial Navy, Virginia rank, commissioned in an officer February 6, 1776, captain in 1787, and appointed Commodore, which he carried to the end of his life. He retired from sea in 1789. First 3 months in service in the Navy, Richard captured 4 British sloops, the Olive, the Sark, and the Speedwell, and the Savannah on the Rappahannock River at Fredericksburg. And the Crown sent British Commodore Hotham to secure Taylor's demise. In 1777 on the Chesapeake, Richard chose to sink his sloop, the Liberty, instead of being captured. He was wounded, and that would lead to contribute to his death later in life. After he retired, his family stopped in West Virginia to attend the wedding of his cousin, future President James Madison, to Dolly Todd. Richard would build family's home Woodlawn on the Ohio River just outside of Louisville, Kentucky. In May of 1825, Richard had the honor of hosting the Marquis de Lafayette on his tour of the nation, and they were friends during the Revolutionary War, and it would be the last time that they would get together. My ancestor Richard passed away in August of that same year. Richard's grandson, William Raleigh Taylor, married the granddaughter of another ancestor of mine, Valentine Pierce, and who was another patriot under George Washington and worked with Lafayette.
Good job, Jean. You got a lot of history on your revolutionary patriot there. Wonderful. All right, moving on. Here's some facts about, can I, Rachel, get that? Oh, well. Can I hide it? There, perfect. All right, sorry about that. Some DAR facts. DAR was founded in 1890 by 4 determined women. And here's the web page that you can go look out. There's a lot of history out there, and I'll show you when we go into the web page a little bit about that. We have a simple mission: promoting historic preservation, education, patriotism. The women adopted the tentative constitution. They discussed the scheduling of annual meetings and decided that October 11 would be the permanent anniversary of the DAR Society. A few public URLs are Daughters of the American Revolution, which is dar.org, and then our genealogical research database. And I'll go in and show you when we get to the web page. And and then one of the handouts we have here is something about the DAR facts too, that lists, becoming a member, our headquarters, and then information on the back about the historic preservation, education, and patriotism. One other thing I wanted to mention was back in November 16th to 21st, Ken Burns did a documentary on the American Revolution. So if you missed it or didn't have a chance to see it, you could go search for it either on PBS or Amazon Prime or Netflix or something. So out there somewhere, is the American Revolution, Ken Burns documentary. Okay.
It was excellent.
Did you watch it? Good. Yeah, I recorded it all. Yeah, yeah.
Great details.
Okay, so now I have to stop sharing this, and then I am going to go share my web page. That should go away in a minute. So, get up there. Sorry about that. I was just waiting for the banner to go away. But if you go to dar.org, this is the public website that it brings you to right here. So on this public website, you can see about, the National Society of the Daughters of the American Revolution. So we say DAR, Daughters of the American Revolution, but our national calls us all the National Society, Daughters of the American Revolution. So if you see NSDAR, that's short for National Society, which we're all the same part of the same society. But if you scroll through here, this is many of the items that our DAR daughters are working through, collecting, becoming members. I just want to scroll down to the bottom. I'll get back to researching this in another tab and how to become a member here all online if you wanted to do it this way. But this is the DAR history of the women that founded the DAR. Okay. Sorry. Okay, that didn't open for whatever reason. But anyway, the DAR history here, sorry it's not. Oh, there it goes. There it goes. I just probably didn't click it right. Okay, DAR history. The founding of DAR, and it tells you how, I had mentioned earlier how October 11th became that national founded on date, and the beginnings of the women here than DAR. And the women came up with this because at the beginning of the Revolutionary War, the veterans, they didn't have like anyone to take care of them, or any service, or maybe only a couple nurses or something. So these women got together and they finally said, we can found this DAR society, and we can help our veterans in need, in their recovery time or whatever. So that's pretty cool. Here, view the online exhibit. This is pretty cool. I know, we don't have enough time to talk about DAR in our little hour session that we have here, but everything is out there. Again, as I mentioned, just go click on these and you can view our online exhibit. We have a traveling wall going around the United States. And back in the summertime, it was in Princeton. They had the DAR traveling wall. So yeah, it's pretty cool to go look at all of that details that's around there. Okay. All right. So then you can, learn about the work of DAR and your history and that sort of thing. So I'm scrolling back really fast, but you can go through all this. You can research out your family history and that sort of stuff, and we can do it right here online. So as I mentioned, if we go to this GRS tab, this is our genealogical research system, okay? So when I go to this tab, now I have a lot of other tabs that I can hover over here with a lot of different information in each one of these tabs. But the genealogical research system, This is where it's a free resource for you to go find and type in, maybe if you know your patriot's name. Like, you know, you could go find access here by this database. So DAR has done a lot of work in putting together a database for ancestors throughout the Revolutionary War. So this is really good. So if I click on ancestor here, now if you know your ancestor's last name, you could enter it in here to see if anything comes up. Would anybody like to help me out? Do you know your ancestor's last name?
Well, they aren't members.
That doesn't matter. This is for the Revolutionary War. Do you happen to know your patriot's name? Okay. All right. Well, anyway, while she's looking that up, I think I can do mine.
Hart,
Oh.
H-A-R-T.
Oops. Well, let me go back. Heart. Okay. Perfect. H-A-R-T. Do you have the first name? No.
Well,
That's okay. Do you think?
some of the research was the elder, but
That's okay.
it's Aaron, A-A-R-O-N.
Okay. So you can type in, and let's see, Aaron Hart from South Carolina. There you go, right there.
Oh.
See how we have all this online now. So if I click on Aaron Hart, you know, it's going to tell you that he was a soldier, you know, Kentucky.
Oh my
And
gosh,
then
I'm getting chills.
his spouse was Jane. And, you know, here's some of the people, their national numbers that have gotten in through Aaron Hart and DAR.
It'd be fun to take other families.
Yeah, right. So yeah, it's pretty cool how you can go out there and search now in your ancestry to see if they're in the database that DAR has put together. It's been a lot of work, but it's great. It's great that they have, you know, finally come up with this. And I know there's a lot of DAR daughters that have helped. They're constantly, you know, inputting records into the system to help out there. So that's one way for you to go. So when you go home tonight and you're not able to sleep, you can get on dar.org, go to the GRS tab and click on Ancestor, and then, you know, find out further information possible. Okay. So yeah, so you know that the database, it's a good start. It's not a comprehensive list, as I mentioned. You know, DAR is always adding, you know, in records at a time. So you know they can only do so much of that they can get through. Okay, so you know you hope that you know the names you have that you know they can be spelled, you know, you sort of have the correct spelling because there's so many. As you see, when we did Aaron Hart, there was quite a few other Harts out there. So yeah, so that's one way to go and search right directly from our webpage is through that site. Now there's a member tab here. The general public cannot access our member tab, but the member tab, if you know somebody's national number, you know, it's pretty secret information. But as I mentioned earlier, we're all assigned a national number. If you do happen to know somebody's national number that had passed away, I guess you could enter it in here and find out. Honor mine and see what it says. There's mine. That was my national number I entered, and then it comes back and it tells you this is here's my patriot that I mentioned on one of the slides right here. pretty cool to find that information out so fast. Okay. And then, you can just keep going through, to best identify, where your descendants are, if you don't know, or anything. I know each of our chapters, we have what's called a registrar. That is our chapter office title, and she's the girl that does all the genealogical research and helps you in determining, if you're eligible to join GAR. So we have a special office, but that's all she works on is these applications and helping you find your patriots. So yeah, as I mentioned, that the committee here, is very busy and keeps adding information at all times. And then another part here is descendants, another tab. If you go to the descendants name, sort of like an ancestor, it's the same thing. You could type in the same information here and see, what it comes back with. So here, I have a couple different Edward Masons. As you can see, they're not all the same. So they might have had sons and grandsons and whatever named through. But that's another way to go through and see your ancestry, is going through the descendants tab here also. Okay, so that's another quick little way to get to that information. And we were at the GRC here, where we can search by states or counties. You could pull up, any information you want to look through if you want to. Another big initiative going on here is Bible records. And we just started this a few years ago, right, Jean, where we have been challenged to find family Bibles or old family Bibles, because Bibles had a lot of information in them. So what we have been tasked to do is, like the page that has family names and history on it, to make a copy of that and then scan it and then send it in to national headquarters in Washington, D.C. And that way they have history to go by and maybe help out with research and, some of the ancestors that you need help with. Okay. So I want to get back to .org. I want to show you the committees that we have. We have a lot of committees here that are on the back, the back of this page just sort of lists, the back of the DAR fact sheet lists some of the committees that we have. I think we probably are up to maybe, what do you think, Jean, 70 different committees that we have that focus on just one certain area. Okay, so like here on the back is, historic preservation. So historic preservation, that committee is working on, keeping our grave sites up to date, keeping our cemeteries clean, keeping the parks clean. So, we have different ways of connecting with the community and the local leaders to try and do some of those cleanups around the community. I know our chapter is big in working with Reddick Mansion. And, with the gardening, the outside gardening and the outside landscaping, we have a couple girls that are involved with helping all that out every year and that sort of thing. American Indians is another committee that every month I have a chair, American Indian chair, and she tells a different story every month on some particular American Indian. And last year she had a story that went on about this one particular Indian and his family. So it went on for like 6 months. So every month she'd have a continue. It's got to be continued, and she'd go on and on talking about that particular Indian family. Another big one on the back here is, let me see if I can share this. And then the people on the, I want my,
I believe it's on the top of the screen. You have already.
no, this one. I gotta unshare.
Nope. Just put. Oh. See.
Yes.
And sure.
Thank you. All right, here's what I'm talking about for those on the Zoom meeting. And I'm going to get down to page 2 with all of our different committees that I started to talk about. And as I mentioned, there's a lot more that aren't on this particular page. There's just too many to list here. So as chapters, you have to, as a chapter regent and the chapter officers committee, you have to decide what committee is important to your chapter, because there's just too many. You can't be working on everything. So you just have to focus on a few committees that are important to your chapter and your chapter leaders. So as I mentioned, American Indians, that's a big one that we at Eleni, we do American history, American Indians, DAR Good Citizens. Each chapter sponsors so many high schools. So for Good Citizens, the seniors are given in September at the particular high school the topic of what to write their DAR essay on. Eleni, we host 6 high schools. So in September, our Good Citizen Committee chair and her helper are sending out the information to the high school principal. Here's the topic. And then they circulate amongst the high school seniors who wants to write the essay. And then kids write the essays in a controlled room. They have no idea what the topic is, and they come in and then they start typing their good citizen essay depending on what the topic is. The high school picks whoever the winner is for that high school, and then all of the 6 students for us come to Reddick Mansion, and we have ours in December because Reddick Mansion is decorated so Christmassy in December. So then all the 6 students, their principals, their families all come, and we read about their history and what they're active in and everything. And then we as a chapter have a committee that goes through all the 6 essays, and they pick out one winner that receives the scholarship for a Good Citizen. And then at the chapter level, then they will go on to District 2 level, at the regional level, whoever wins, and then there's state level, and then there's national level. So it's good to get our kids involved in Good Citizens and let them know about, what DAR is doing and what we're all about. Another big one our chapter works on is literacy promotion. With literacy promotion, we've set up a couple little red library boxes outside, at a certain location. So it's a free library we keep stocked, or people will come and drop off some books or take some books. So that's one of the things that is a free little library. Also, we, for literacy promotion, will meet with either the library or maybe a small school or say, hey, can DAR come in and can we, read a book to the children? Could we spend some time, reading them the DAR history or something like that? So they're always open to us being involved with the schools for literacy promotion. Another one is the Service to America. So Service to America committee is, every chapter is given a set number from national of how many hours, volunteer hours, all of your members must complete for the year. If you go above it, terrific, kudos, you'll get certificates from national for going above your service hours. But yeah, so each chapter has service hours they have to commit to. And service hours, think about it, if you're working at the local food pantry or you're supporting a local workshop at the library, or you're teaching a Sunday school class, or there's just so many different ways that you volunteer that you are able to log your Service to America hours, and that counts as the tally that you are given for your chapter. Another big one, moving on down, is Constitution Week. As I mentioned earlier, I'm on this committee, Constitution Week, where, the week of September 17th to the 23rd is where we raise awareness of our Constitution. And we kick off, if you're all a historian, September 17th was the signing and everything. So that's why it kicks off on that particular day. So I know we get together with some of the schools and we'll do, like I mentioned, we'll go into the classroom and we'll bring them a little flag and maybe a little Constitution book for the 7th graders and the junior high, help them prepare to take the Constitution in grade school and high school. We used to have a naturalization center in Ottawa. Do you remember that, Jean? Yeah, my mom was all part of that, but we don't have that anymore. So yeah, we used to have people taking the classes to become a U.S. citizen. That at the courthouse in Ottawa, they had a naturalization ceremony and process instead of now having to go, Chicago or Moline or something. I don't know. Yeah, that's pretty cool. And as I mentioned earlier, the next big committee is DAR Service for Veterans. That's probably our key number one priority with Illini chapter, is being faithful and oriented and honorable with our veterans at the veterans home, because there are quite a few that don't have families. They're without any families, or if they do have families, they're so far away, that it's hard to see them. And yeah, as I mentioned, we take up the collection for gifts, and do a Christmas in July little gift bag for them. And we get what they need, we get from their home, from the activity director. She provides us the list of items that they need to have in their little gift bag. And of course, we give, money donations to them. And then, as I mentioned, we volunteer a lot at the home over there. Another one that's big that I have in my team, the flag of the United States of America. My flag co-chair, she reads a little flag minute at each of our meetings every month. And it's just amazing the different history that's behind our flag that, a lot of us aren't aware of. Okay, so these are a lot of the committees that you can be part of when joining DAR. So as I mentioned, there's quite a few not listed here because I just wanted to highlight the ones that were important to my chapter and Jean's chapter. Jean, did you have any others that you go through that I did not mention here?
No, but on the veterans,
Yeah.
we do a lot of cards and help out with honors like out of Peoria.
Oh, that's nice.
Really
Yeah.
nice.
Yeah. Honor flight's another big one we try to do. What, once a year? Is that what
They go 4 times.
Four times a year?
2 in the fall and 2 in the spring.
Yeah, and DAR is very committed to honor flight, and of course, it's all volunteer hours, for our daughters to commit. It's early up in the morning, what, 4 a.m. or 3 a.m. and get home at, I don't know, 8, 9 o'clock at night. But yeah, honor flight is
Yeah, they have their dinner.
right. Yeah,
And you see them all.
yeah, it's really nice to go through everything. So yeah, I know our DAR national headquarters in Washington, D.C. has gone through a major remodel, and it's pretty fabulous of the whole building out there and the library and Constitution Hall. It's just amazing everything that they have gone through here. So just maybe wrap up with a couple key things here was, I had mentioned that our mission is to promote historic preservation, education, and patriotism. And our motto is God, home, and country. So, we always stand up for that. Today, we roughly have maybe 190,000 daughters, maybe 200,000 by now, not for sure, and over 3,000 chapters in the 50 states. And I know we are national, so we have chapters in our foreign countries also as well. And every year, Continental Congress out in Washington, D.C., all of our daughters are invited to, go out there and be part of the formal event that they hold out there with all the dining. So you can go to dar.org, go through that whole web page, go through each of the tabs that are on there to, obtain further information. There's, it tells you how to become a member. You could go through, you could fill out at the bottom. Let me see how long it takes to stop sharing and start sharing again. Share. Why? Nope. Here, I want to share that. Share. Thank you. All right. So as you can see, there's so much information here, and let me get back to dar.org. Sorry about this. Okay. So when you go through here, you can see all the different information, research your family history and, the bond, and then here, how to become a member. So they have right here, you can find your chapter locator. So if we click on that, it'll ask you where you're closest to, to find your chapter. So I just know my zip code, and let's see if it pulls up. It pulls up the one in Ottawa. Then we have Mendota and Morris. So you can see in Princeton. So you can see with just entering my zip code how you can, go to each of those websites for different information just by typing in your chapter locator. And then you can complete the membership form. And I know Jean had put one out here on the table if you wanted to fill out the membership form, that you can do that through the form here, or you can go through here and fill it out online on your membership interest form. Either way, okay? And then gather what you know through the genealogy system. We were there earlier. And then, once you have your information, you can start your application here online, or as you fill out the form here that we have in the library, you can contact Jean and I, and we could help you out to assist, who's ever closer to your chapter. Okay. And I got just a couple more slides. Okay, what did I do? Oh, there it is. Okay. All right. So some of the reasons, that I sort of put together to join DAR, because I sort of look back, and my mom was always wanting me to join when I was young, and I'm like, Mom, I'm working, I don't have time, da 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 da. But if I had joined, I could have my 60-year pin, maybe someday. But anyway, some of the reasons to join DAR: make new friends, expand your circle, something different to do, something to be a part of that's community service. You connect with women who share your interests in history and service and patriotism. So it's always fun, meeting new friends and reconnecting maybe with your old friends. And then you get to share your history with your new friends that you meet. I know when we go to state conference or DAR days, which is another state function that we have, there's an app that DAR has. So for us sitting in the room, we can put in our ancestry information, and then we can see in the room, it'll pop up and it'll tell you who you're sitting with that might also be part of the same ancestry as you. It's pretty cool. So yeah, just to explore, and deepen your network and fellowship, and lasting, just to leave the legacy with your community. Last year, I got a call from Ottawa, Illinois, from the mayor. He signed a proclamation for our literacy promotion and the work that we've been doing with the schools and the library. So it's always exciting, to be honored and recognized. And this year is the big 250th. So there's so many different various events going on that'll be planned by the various organizations. And then this slide I mentioned, we went through that, but there's the URL in the presentation if you need it again. And then our contact information, myself, my email, and Jean's email, and our phone numbers, in case you have any questions that you didn't want to ask tonight or get through or anything. So speaking of that, then Rachel, do we have any questions from the floor on the Zoom?
Any questions on the Zoom yet? Does anyone have any questions?
Anyone in the room have any questions?
Is there an age requirement? They have to be a certain age?
18 to join. Okay. But now 18 to join Daughters of the American Revolution, but we also have Children of the American Revolution. So, children can be from babies to 18. Children. We have Children of the American Revolution, and we also have Sons of the American Revolution. So like my brother is sons of the American Revolution, even though he lives in Georgia, he got in same way I did.
So each person has to
Yes, yes, apply. Right, exactly. Yeah. So yeah, our children of the American Revolution, they're doing a lot of things. I know a couple years ago, the head from Chicago, they were making a quilt, so she had like a quilt pattern. If you wanted to make a quilt block for her quilt, you could do that, and then she was going to give that to the veterans home. So yeah. So yeah, children are welcomed to join, and there's just as many activities for the children to do as there are adults. Yeah.
Are there children in your chapter here?
No.
Oh, we need some.
Well, my daughter's a member, she's 54, but.
I was gonna ask Jean, the marker in Henry for Lincoln, where is that?
You know where City Park is, the main park on Route 18, by downtown. It's in the corner by the grocery store and the restaurant there. The park.
I know just where that is, but I never, but you put it up, the Lincoln marker just recently?
August.
Oh,
We
that's nice.
dedicated it on August 23rd, which is the day he was in Henry giving a speech.
Perfect.
And we did a lot of the research and got the plaque. We also got a grant to do this too from the state, DAR, or National DAR. And we got the wording, we had to go through national for the wording of it. It had to say certain things. We had the mayor. We had, the rock was donated by the gravel pit out there.
Oh, nice.
So it was a local rock. And it's about 4 foot by 2 foot by, it's a good sized thing. And the city guys dug the hole for it and poured the cement and put the rock in and stuff.
Perfect.
Put the plaque on, and then we had a
Did they
dedication.
have part of his speech or anything?
We could not find any records of exactly what he said.
Yeah.
But he talked for 2 hours in front of 2,500 people back then
Oh,
in Henry. So that's like, they came from Princeton. They had a band from Princeton. They had a yacht club that came in. He came from LaSalle by train, and they had a carriage procession and with white horses and stuff, carrying him down to the park to have his speech. So it was interesting to find out. And when I was at the Presidential Museum Library in Springfield, they had copies of the original newspaper that all the information was in that were not waterlogged.
yeah.
The paper office back in Henry had a fire.
Oh, dear.
So that issue of the paper, a lot of them got so smeared that with the ink that you couldn't read it. But they had a real good copies down there, so they helped out a lot. But it was fun to do.
Yeah, it sounds it.
Rachel, was there anything that we did not cover that you were thinking we would?
This was great.
It was great.
Yes, so good.
Thank you. Still no questions from the Zoom?
No from the Zoom, but anyone else has any questions? Or? I actually have questions. You have to be a DAR member to participate in the honor flights, or can I ask?
No, anyone can participate and volunteer on the honor flights.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's what I was gonna ask, but I wondered what it was, the honor flight.
It's for guys, veterans, to go to Washington, D.C. by plane,
Oh,
and they go to the memorial, Veterans Memorial there, and then they fly back, but they have breakfast before the plane leaves, and they come back to a dinner.
that's what I was thinking it probably was.
Yeah, it's a full long day, as Jean mentioned, and the whoever volunteers, you are like assigned to a veteran, and that veteran is, whether they like to walk or run or whatever, they're in a wheelchair. whether they like it or not.
Yeah.
So when they board the plane, the wheelchair, and then as soon as they get off the plane, they're in a wheelchair, and then the volunteers are getting them to wherever they have to go. But then they have like a big late afternoon dinner, early dinner or something in honor the veterans that have come on this particular day.
Wonderful. Have you done that?
No, I have not. On my bucket list to do someday.
Someday. Sounds fun. Very meaningful.
Very, right.
Okay, I don't see more questions for Chip, so I will let you wrap up.
Okay, on that note, then we've really enjoyed, being part of your America 250 and presenting our DAR story, to the community. And we're hoping that, we can get, some interest here, in joining or at least researching out your ancestry, if possible, and trace it back to the Revolutionary War. So we were happy to be here and share everything with you.
You gave us a push after
Right.
years.
So thank you both, Becky and Dean, for doing the presentation. Thank you for everyone for coming.
Thank you. Yes, thank you for coming. Yes, thank you, everyone.
I'll take this your chance to.
And you said I could just copy this and
You scan it with your
scan
California.
with my phone?
yeah, with your phone. Scan the QR code. Yeah.
Thank you.
So they did not